The British Women's Classic has come and gone already. So thought I'd do a little video going over some things that were good, things that need to be improved upon, and just a little overview of the day as I saw it from the live stream. If I can't see anything. Right, so obviously first, Marie was up first, the 57 kilo weight class. So Marie got 2 out of 3 squats, failed 112, which would have been an all-time PB, and I thought that it was a bit of a stretch considering the recent weight cut, but did not think it was a stretch if everything was the same in training. Marie's squats have been looking really good, but depth, as far as I saw it, a couple of times when she'd been down in the gym, had been close and high. One of the triples she did at 100 kilos was fantastic, but it was high. Second time I saw her do it, it was the depth. But that inconsistency in training and depth in training, due to perhaps lack of filming, lack of people around her checking her depth and so on, led to her opener being failed on depth. However, she was confident enough to obviously up it to 107.5, 2.5 kilos below a PB, and nailed it. And it was a really strong squat, and I'm surprised based off of that she didn't get 112. But I think that going forward, Marie, I think you need to really nail your depth in the gym. And I don't mean even necessarily go lower all the time, I just mean be consistent, and just video from the side a bit more for yourself, just to make sure that you're hitting depth, and you want to be training that range of movement, and you want to be grooving that movement pattern. So then we went to bench, and she got 60 kilos, I believe, which is 2.5 kilos off of her all-time PB. But both these squat and the bench, I think, was a PB at well, it is a PB at the 57 kilo weight class, because she was competing in the 63s before. So again, not bad considering only 2.5 kilos down on all-time PB and dropped to weight class. Marie had been quite inconsistent at points in her training, and I think that was probably the biggest contributing factor to this being the case. I mean, if she got 62.5 at 57, that would have been massive. I mean, when you're talking about dropping 6 kilos, you're talking about dropping 10% body weight, which is massive. If you're 63 kilo and you dropped around 57, that's 10%. It's a very different ball game. So that would have been, you know, extreme, like amazing progress. So it's kind of in line with where I thought, but I think that the consistency in training has been really the driving factor. As all 3 of you will find, or seems to be the case from what I'm seeing, is that you're all very sensitive to frequency, and when you're not consistent, the frequency obviously drops and changes, and you are not practicing the skill as much, and then when you pick it up again, you feel like almost you don't know what you're doing, and it seems to have such a massive effect on your lifts. And I don't mean you don't know what you're doing, but I think that what I'm trying to say is just the frequency and that consistency is really the thing that drives progress in a lot of ways. So that is actually one of the most interesting things about Marie, is when she comes to deadlift, it was absolutely amazing. 122.5 flew up so fast, it shocked her that she ended up coming down with it at the top. It was so fast, I was blown away. Bearing in mind, about 5-6 weeks ago, I'm sure she can correct me, she was messaging me. I believe she failed 120 in the gym, or something, 117. It was a lot lighter than her PB. She failed in the gym, and she was messaging me worrying about going backwards and things of that nature, and it was due to consistency again and frequency of deadlifting. It seemed like she'd missed quite a few sessions that were deadlift sessions, And then as soon as, in that last 6 weeks, she was able to really hone in and really get involved in the gym and be consistent. And suddenly the deadlift started coming back. And when I last saw her, she smashed a 120 deadlift in the gym. And it wasn't the most pretty deadlift, but it flew. And that just shows how a little bit of practice, she got her head down and was in the gym, being consistent, and suddenly the weight on the bar kept rising. And she finished with 127.5, which was a all-time match PB, but a PB in the 57 kilo weight class, which again is just so impressive. I mean, unfortunately the way she lost weight was through calorie restriction rather than water manipulation, and obviously carbs included in that. So she ended up being quite fatigued and tired on the day, and not having enough energy potentially to fulfill what she could have done. But you know, it's all a lesson, and it's all just a stepping stone to the next meet, and that's the great thing about it. So yeah, she did excellent, absolutely excellent. So impressed. I think just going forward, the main things are with Marie is to simply be consistent in the gym and be consistent on her depth on her squats, film more from the side especially, and have people check her depth when she's around other people. For bench, she needs to be more consistent in her training, and that goes for deadlift too. And one of the biggest things that I think would help her bench with almost no real extra work, well, extra work but no extra need for programming or anything at all, is to start doing some of the assistance work that she's prescribed, because I know with Marie it's often missed. So what I would suggest is trying to, when you finish up your sessions, if possible, to put your headphones in or set a stopwatch about 10-15 minutes, and in that 10-15 minutes, that's playtime, and you go and you do what you can and superset everything. So I want you to start building some muscle in the upper body, because it will only help your bench. And I'm only saying this because it's a very quick thing that I know you don't do, and I know just throwing this extra assistance work in there will help you. And I know you have a problem with your shoulders, and you have a problem with your shoulders, in my opinion, as I've mentioned to you before, is because you do not train your rear delts and your back enough to pull yourself back. You're doing all this pressing, you press between 3 and 4 times a week, and you're doing all this pressing and you're not pulling back. So you need to have the musculature behind you to pull your shoulder blades in a proper position, and it will also help your bench. So for you, I know you like to chat in the gym, and I know you work really late sometimes, and you work all the hours under the sun, and you're busy. But if you could set a timer for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you can do, so right, set a timer, and you're going to superset everything. You're going to do curls, superset with triceps. You're going to do some back work, superset with this, and it doesn't necessarily matter. Just go around in a big circuit. That's what I like to do. Pick 3 or 4 exercises, just go around in a circuit. If you're short on time, and that may not seem like much, but you do that 4 days a week, 4 days a week, 4 weeks a month, and then into training cycles, and that stuff adds up, and that's how you end up gaining a little bit of muscle mass, and obviously the muscle mass will have a potential to be a lot stronger. So that muscle will have a lot of potential to be a lot stronger. So that would be key for you. Just be consistent in your training. I know it's been very difficult for you. And do your assistance work, and that will help keep you healthy, and that will really help your bench. I think that's it. I think there's some big things coming. The other biggest, most important thing you must do, if you want to maintain a 57 kilo weight class, I don't really want you above 59 kilos. Not really. That is going to be too much for you. I want you to maintain the weight. So I would suggest probably tracking using MyFitnessPal. Eat as normal for 2 weeks, and then use that as your kind of maintenance, and then have small little 100 calorie ups and downs to try and maintain that weight. That's just a quick little suggestion what I would recommend you do, and then once you know roughly what you're eating, you don't need to track all the time. You don't need to create some eating disorder by tracking all the time. I know that for some people that's hard. I know for you that's been hard. I know for it's a real big thing. So just track for a little while, know where you are, and then just eat kind of consistently, similar enough things. If you're going to go out and have an eat a little bit less next day, and just somewhat maintain that 59 kilo class. I will add to everyone's sheets coming soon a little weight class thing, which will tell you how much your percentage in relation to weight class, which will help I think everyone. But I think for you really need to do that just to keep you a lot closer to the weight class, and that will really make sure that when you come to the platform, which is the most important time, you're going to be ready to go and not be lacking any energy, because that is not what I want at all. So that's all I really have to say, Marie, and I hope anyone else listening is going to get a bit of advice from that as well. So next up we have Grace and Gemma in the 63 kilo class, which was that was an awesome watch. I was blown away. They were both in the B group, and those are two people that will 100% be in the A group next year. They have got a lot of potential in that weight class. It's very clear to see. It was good to watch. I think Gemma squatted 112.5, missed 120. So with Gemma, she has been very consistent for the last month or so, but her biggest problem on the whole, as she knows, is not even as just consistency, but it's following the program, consistently following the program. That would be Gemma's biggest fault. The 112 moved absolutely fantastic. 115, I believe, is her all-time PB, but that was done at a body weight of around 68-70 kilos, roughly. I may be slightly wrong, but that is how I remember it. She was definitely a lot heavier when she was doing that. So the fact that she did that under 63 is very impressive. I can't remember what her first squat was at her first meet, but she certainly improved a lot on that performance. It's incredible progress. I think with Gemma, what we're going to do on the squat is work on some shorter tempo squats to practice a better tempo overall for her squats. It was very noticeable on her 120 that she went down extremely fast with it and got out of position immediately out of the hole, and then she was in a bad position, a compromised position, and from that she couldn't finish the lift. So that there's two kind of ways I'm looking at it. Is that one, technically looking on the way down, it was a little too fast. As soon as she came out of the hole, she didn't have the strength to muscle it up. So what I want her to do is be tighter by working on some of these tempo squats. We're going to do with her a shorter tempo, not a 4-5 count, much shorter than that, but just to groove a real nice squat. And then that, coupled with building up the quads a bit more, should really help her squat. Coming down with a better bar path, coming up, and keeping that good position when able to fight weights. I think potentially might have a tempo on the way back up too, maybe a 2-2, 2 down, 2 up, or 3 down, 3 up. And what that should do is enable Gemma to grind. It was very clear. She came up out of the hole. She got to a sticking point. She didn't grind for half a second. It just stopped. So something like a tempo squat, you're going to come down controlled and come up controlled, come down controlled and up controlled. And that, when you come out the hole with 120, you're going to be used to grinding. So when you get to your sticking point, you might be able to give it a fighting chance, keep pushing and pushing. As soon as you push through that sticking point, you're going to get the squat. So those are two things we're going to work on. Some sort of tempo squat and building up the quads. That's going to be really important. So we'll just do Gemma first. So then Gemma, where's the bench? This is where Gemma absolutely excels. Extremely efficient and strong presser. Gemma has come a very, very long way since we started working together on bench. She was benching around 75 or so kilos with a competition pause, and now that's up to 87.5. I know she is not happy with 87.5. She has benched more than that. She's benched a little bit over 90 kilos or around 90 kilos. I know she's benched more than 90 kilos, but it was not legit. She needs to remember to keep her ass down. So with bench and Gemma, she's very, very talented and worked very hard and got extremely good, extremely strong pressing muscles, and her technique has come on leaps and bounds. That's been the biggest thing that we've really worked on. But the thing that's going to take her to the next level, in my opinion, is going to be nailing the form of a competition bench press consistently. That's going to be the key. So in my personal opinion, and I have experienced this as well, I think the reason she's benching 90 odd in the gym and 87 grinder on the platform was a maximal lift. It was extremely impressive to grind it out, and it was absolutely showed her, you know, tenacious attitude of failing on the second, getting on the third. We had a very similar experience at the All England bench where I was there to handle her at, and she missed her second and came back and got it on the third, and that was with 85 kilos. And there was a few technical things I could see on the day, mainly not pushing the bar back enough, and pushing the bar back more enabled her to get the second lift, the third lift I should say, at the All Englands. Couldn't see a lot of the technical issues on the second lift at the British, but I think Gemma's biggest issue, and the thing she needs to work on the most, is doing legitimate competition style bench press in the gym. So what I want her to focus on is when she takes the bar out, she holds it for around 3 seconds. She takes the bar down, she pauses it for a good 1 count. She presses the bar up, she holds it again for 2 to 3 seconds and racks it. And that whole time, her arse stays on the bench. And if her arse comes off of the bench, it's a failed lift. So, and I want her to start filming from the side where you can see her arse coming on or off the bench. She's got to really work on her foot position to find the right spot where her butt can stay down on the bench, because I think that's the reason she's not doing 90 on the platform right now. It's just technical. She's got the strength for it. I've seen the strength. She's done 85 for a triple with pauses in the gym. Her ass came up a little bit on the last one. So I think 90 plus is there, but you must practice perfectly, and I think that's really going to be the biggest thing, is when you go to a meet, you don't realise just how long you hold the bar for before the command, how long you pause it for, and how long you hold it for before racking it, and it all adds up. And obviously you've done a maximal squat first, it all adds up. So that is one thing I'd say to Gemma to really work on, is the consistency of perfect competition benches. That would be the key to get over 90, in my personal opinion. Gemma has tremendous potential on bench. She does not do nearly any assistance work really either. I might have to do some diagrams on what some of the assistance works are for her, but obviously same goes as Marie, you really need to do some of that assistance work. And that will actually keep you healthy. You're benching a lot of weight, you need to keep your shoulders healthy, and by doing that you need to have a strong upper back, and that will keep your shoulders safe. So, deadlift. Deadlift was an absolute shocker for me. I was so impressed, very proud, and if honest, very surprised. Um, saw Gemma's opener at 132. Obviously, Gemma had some proposed numbers, which on the deadlift she added a little bit too, because she had tested in the gym, kind of without saying, and PB'd. So her numbers were adjusted a little bit. Her opener was fast, but a little bit sticky at lockout, and I was worried when she made a 12.5 kilo jump for her second, and I thought that was a massive jump. For a female, percentage-wise on that lift, I thought it was a massive jump, and I was just so glad and so happy she got it. She actually nailed it. It was so much better than her first. And I'm sure she knew why she did that on her first deadlift, but the second was so much nicer. And then 150 from there was really good. Yeah, that was a great watch. I was super surprised at the number she put in for the second, but I know she must have had something off, and she whatever it was, she corrected it for the second and third deadlift. I would love to see some videos of these deadlifts. It was. I think a lot could be gained from technical work on the deadlift. Gemma is extremely explosive from the bottom portion of the deadlift, and I think a bit of time, a little bit of patience off the floor will enable a much better starting position, and therefore a much better finishing position. Sumo should really be slowest off the floor and fly to lockout. And Gemma seems to get above her knees, and that's a sticking point, which makes sense because it's very fast off the floor, and the back position could be a lot tighter. And when the back's tighter, you're safer, and you're also going to be able to lock out bigger weights. So I think with Gemma, the protocol will be a proper 2-count pause deadlift, just 1 inch off the floor, and then some block pulls to really nail the back strength, and also having to lock those lats in really tight, because you're probably going to use supramaximal weights on that, so slightly heavier than a deadlift. So I think that's going to be key. That's going to be key for Gemma. Is working on that pause position off the floor, having a little bit more patience, and then nailing the lat tightness. She also needs to work on being less pelvic tilted in the bottom of the deadlift. That anterior pelvic tilt is the reason that she has so many hip issues. So learning how to properly brace will really help that bottom position of the deadlift, and really help lock out as well. So that's pretty much Gemma. I think overall consistency of following the program the best you can, and trusting the process, and remembering you don't have to constantly do singles and PB to get stronger. It's about building, and having some faith and having some trust in doing some muscle building, hypertrophy work, and realize that it will genuinely help your bench a lot. And I think that doing her assistance work, following her program to a T, will be how she benches 100 kilos. That's how I see it happening. She needs to do these things. Otherwise, I think that she may keep running into brick walls, and not taking it a step back to go 2 steps back to go 3 steps forward. She's just kind of taking a step back, hitting the wall, and I think that's going to be the key for the big next jump. She's made tremendous progress, and I know she wasn't happy with 87 on the bench, but that was 2.5 kilos more than she did at the British bench, and 2.5 kilos more on a bench which is already at the elite level is extremely impressive, and not to be sniffed at. at all. So, right, now Grace in 60 as well, with Gemma. Grace has come on leaps and bounds. She had a bikini background, very into kind of hypertrophy stuff, and we've worked on bringing her into the kind of powerlifting side of things. And yeah, she's come on so far from when we first started together. Yeah, so she did a really impressive performance. She went 9 for 9, and I believe she got all 27 white lights. This was again a stepping stone meet, and she saw it as such. And yeah, she squatted 125. Absolutely smoked it. She had squatted 125 a couple of times in the gym. I was expecting for 127 to 130 to be the goal. So she went a little bit lighter, and she got it. She nailed it. And I think 127 or 130 would have been there. But she played it safe and got 3 for 3 on squats. With Grace, I would like to see her try some low bar. I think that she would probably need some, if she can come down to the farm at some point, potentially, or I think she needs some. So I think she needs some low bar practice for sure. I think that there's loads of videos on the internet, so you need to, I think, practice that at some point. That could be something that could really work. Is getting that low bar, taking the quads from the high bar, and being able to shorten the back with the low bar and grind it out a bit better could be the thing which takes a squat to that kind of 140 area. Again, yeah, she's come so far with the squat, so far, but I think there was more there. There was nothing wrong with it though. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking what was there and moving on. But there was definitely a 2.5 to 5 kilo thing there, so that would be great to do that on the next one, if not more. Just leaving something on the table is awesome. Then she went to bench. She benched 70. She fell 72 at a previous meet. She wasn't really feeling that good on bench in the lead up. It'd be interesting to see more why she didn't feel that strong on bench and if we could change anything. But she said she wasn't feeling that strong, so didn't go for it. But I think it was there. It's kind of the problem with women's powerlifting, is that 67 was so fast it was a joke, but 72 is 5 kilos more, and that's a big percentage. It's really difficult. I certainly was watching it like, oh my god, it was so fast. I thought, do you go 72? Do you risk it? I personally think it would have gone. 67 was extremely fast and 70 was very fast. So that was good. And then deadlift. Deadlift was the best lift of the day. It was a 7.5 kilo PB from her Bethnal Green meet just a few months ago. Yeah, that was a real psychological one for her, because she had a big thing about 150. So to load up 155 at a meet and absolutely nail it was very impressive. Yeah, I think with Grace, the blocks have helped her so much in breaking down psychological barriers. We took her block pull sumo from, I think it was around 150 all the way up to 167.5 a week or so out from the meet. It's very, very impressive. And I think that just seeing that weight on the bar completely knocked all those psychological barriers out of the way. And now she's nailed 155. Honestly, looked like 160 was there. If not, definitely 157. It was very smooth. I think 160 would have been there. So she's seen tremendous increase from 147.5, and I would attribute that to the deadlift work we've been doing, the block pulls especially, breaking down those psychological barriers, working up to a submaximal single, and it was submaximal, and because she started submaximally and was honest with the RPEs, we were able to build upon it week on week on week, to the point where we added, I think it was like over 15 kilos to it. And it was not an RPE 8 by the end of it, but continued to press her to add more weight. And it really did pay dividends. But she was honest with the RPE at the start, so we had somewhere to build from. So that's really important, is just realising that and being honest with your RPEs, especially if it's a 7 or an 8 for a single, for example. Being a bit more honest enables you to go further, and it enables me to watch it and push the weights a bit more, and extend that and prolong progress for longer. So her positioning's come on massively due to pause deadlifts, pausing it just off the floor for a real good count, 1-2 count, and accelerating up. So those two things have been the reason her deadlift's gone up so much. And I think that definitely Gemma could benefit from the same thing. Marie too, obviously, but I think Gemma with the positioning could see the same kind of gains that Grace has made. With Grace overall, she's been super consistent with her program. She hasn't really deviated too much, if at all, ever, and has seen really good results. I think it was like a 25 or so kilo PB for her that day, and yeah, it was super impressive. I think Grace will benefit the most from learning the low bar, taking her time to learn that properly, potentially on one of her lighter days. And then with bench, she has, it's not a bad thing, but she's definitely got a kind of bro bench, which is great in a lot of ways, because she's built a lot of muscle mass doing that. And she has already changed her form slightly, but when she continues to decrease her range of movement, and increase her flexibility of the thoracic spine and get into a better position, I think that will be the thing that takes her to the next level. She has a tendency to come down and come forward on the bench, come down and come forward rather than be under the weight and push back. So with her learning again how to bench correctly, keeping the scapulars back, arching, spending time arching, keeping the arse down, and being in a good position, that will be the thing that takes her bench to the next level, to that kind of 80 area. It's not going to be just from adding more muscle. It's not going to be necessarily from that. I think she can gain quick kilos just from simple technique work, and obviously practicing that technique perfectly time and time again, using the repetition method. When it comes to deadlift, not sure I change a thing right now. I think we're on a very good line, and I think that just continuing to be honest with the RPEs and continuing to nail the program and trust the process as she has done will pay dividends, as it has done so far. So overall, everyone did amazing. This was everyone's first British, and I know it's a big competition, and I know the attempt slips and it's a bit more serious and all this stuff, but I do think you all have potential to make it to that international level, and this is a great stepping stone for that. And I thought it was great how you could all see some of the top in the world, and definitely in Britain, and draw inspiration from that. I know every single one of you is really fired up right now to do better, to do more, which is awesome. And in some ways, that's whatever the total, coming back and having the experience of it and being motivated by it is going to do more for your training than anything else, to be honest. because it will cause you to work harder, it will cause you to do all your reps and your assistance work and your mobility and your recovery and all of these things. So yeah, I mean, it was very impressive. It was great to watch, and I'm really excited to see where all of you go from here. I think it's been the best highlighter of things that we need to change or things we need to continue with. Everyone's done super well. Everyone's PB'd, whether it's a weight class PB or an all-time PB. Just make sure moving forward that I think everyone can just learn from being consistent, both in your RPEs, in your rep schemes, in your ability to follow the program, your mobility work, your soft tissue work, your assistance work. All of that stuff needs to be down and on pat, and your technique work and everything, in order to take you to that next level. Because that's the thing, is like, the stronger you get, the harder it is to get to that next level. And you just got to dig and dig and dig more and more to get to that next PB. Another big thing, don't get addicted to PBs, get addicted to the process. PBs aren't the only thing you should care about. You should just care about going to the fucking gym and enjoying it. Because PBs, as you get stronger, because all of you are now getting to a decent level, and PBs aren't going to come all the time, and you can't guarantee a PB every 4 to 6 to 8 to 12 weeks. People drop like flies when they get to these kind of levels, because it gets hard and people give up because they're addicted to the process. They're not addicted to the process, they're addicted to getting the next PB. So enjoy the process, love the gym, and the PBs will come. It will come. And I'm not saying none of you are progressing, because you've all done so tremendously well, but you've got to really really focus on concentrating on the gym and enjoying it and following the protocols, and then it'll all come together. You don't necessarily think about these numbers and that numbers and these numbers in the future. Just do this day perfectly. Hit all your RPEs and hit all your assistance work, and do everything and tick it all off, and then on to the next day. And days leads to weeks, weeks leads to months, and then suddenly you have an amazing year. So that's all I have to say, he says, at 40 minutes. But very proud of everyone. Everyone did extremely well, and I'm really looking forward to working with each and every one of you to get to that next level. And let me know if you have any more questions or anything you want me to answer any more. Rambling on a bit, as always. But yeah, speak to you soon, and well done.